Morning members, can I please remind you to ensure that mobile phones and other devices are on silent, that banners are not, etc. are not permitted, and members of the public are not allowed to address the meeting, to use the microphones which are available when addressing the meeting, that you may be filmed or recorded during this meeting. Thank you. Thank you for standing for the Madam Chairman.
Good morning, members. Can I ask my chaplain, Reverend Ross Olding, to lead prayers, please?
Will you bow your heads with me? Father God, the uncreated creator, I give thanks for and on behalf of all those who are gathered here today. We thank you for your many abundant blessings. We thank you for life itself, for the breath in our lungs, and for the measure of health you have given us. We thank you for the privilege and ability and honour to be involved in the service of the communities we represent. We thank you that you grant us the freedom to embrace you or the freedom to reject you, yet you love us regardless from your boundless and gracious nature. We come before you today with gratitude for the opportunity to serve our communities and for the responsibility and roles entrusted to each of us as this council gathers in this place to make decisions that will shape the lives of those we represent. We ask for your guidance and your presence among us. We ask that you would grant wisdom, that every matter would be approached with clarity of mind and purity of intention. May we hear not only the voices in this room, but also the voices who are often unheard, the vulnerable, the weary and the marginalised. Teach us to work together, even in our differences. When opinions diverge and tempers rise, remind us of our shared purpose to serve the greater good. Give us patience when the way forward is unclear and perseverance when progress feels slow. We ask for a spirit of cooperation rather than competition, humility rather than pride, and understanding rather than judgment. May we be mindful that our words carry weight and actions have consequences, and our leadership is a privilege. We pray for the people of this community, for their safety, their health, their prosperity and their peace. Bless this council through their deliberations and the work ahead, but most of all I pray that each person here would experience personal peace in their lives and joy in their tasks. And when we leave this place, may we do so with a renewed commitment to fairness, equality and the highest ideals of public service. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Madam Chairman, point of order under standing number 91, please. No, well you have. We've had prayers. You've started the meeting. I want to ask a clarification as to why the press are no longer allowed in this council chamber. I've been a councillor here for many, many years, and the press have always been allowed in the council chamber. But now, for some reason, they're going to be made to sit up there. And I don't think it's right. I think it's undemocratic, and I think it's a retrograde step for this council. Thank you. There is one member of the press here, and I can see 5 spare chairs here. Those gentlemen wouldn't always be here, so there are actually 7 spare chairs here. it's just an excuse. And it goes on the back of you banning the press at one time.
The press can hear and they can see. There is no reason for them to be down here with us. And at that, I want to get on with the work of this council.
Respect, Madam Chairman, that isn't an explanation for why this decision has been taken.
It's my explanation, councillor. Members, you'll remember that I spoke at the start of our September meeting about the behaviour in this chamber. And I'm sure you will all agree that both September and November meetings were much more respectful and a pleasant meeting to be involved in. So I ask that all members carry on the good behaviour we had in this chamber for the second half of last year. And I ask that you do that in today's meeting. I will be following the same approach regarding points of order that I set out in the September meeting, which is, I'll just wait for the councillor to leave before I continue. A member wishing to raise either a point of order or point of personal explanation will raise their hand and indicate which it is they wish to raise. If it is a point of order, they will indicate the relevant paragraph number from the Constitution. No further detail should be provided at this point. I will determine whether and when I will accept it, and will advise the Chamber of my decision. If I am allowing it, I may decide that it will be taken after the current speaker has finished to enable a better flow of debate. My decision on this will be final, and I will not accept any further discussion on my decision. There should be no dialogue between the member speaking and the member raising the point of order. Both should be speaking to me as chairman. Thank you. Item 1, minutes. I ask council to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. All those in favour? All those against? Any abstentions? Item 2, apologies for absence. I will now ask each group to provide any apologies. Please ensure reasons for any apologies are provided. I call upon Councillor Martin Wright. Do you have any apologies?
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I do. I have 4 this morning. Councillor Saban for other reasons, Councillor Byte for other reasons, Councillor Wheatcroft for medical reasons, and Councillor Doddy for similar medical reasons. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Wheeler, do you have any apologies?
Thank you, Chairman. I do. I have 2, one from Neil Clark for other council business and one from Roger Jackson for other reasons. Thank you.
Councillor Clooney, do you have any apologies?
No apologies from our group. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. And Councillor Carr, do you have any apologies?
No apologies.
Item 3, declarations of interest. If any councillor or officer has an interest in any matter on the agenda, you should declare it now. Please raise your hand now if you have an interest to declare. When called to speak, you should state what type of interest it is and give brief details. Do I have any speakers? In the interest of transparency, I can confirm that I have been advised by the monitoring officer that I do not need to declare a pecuniary interest in item 7, changes to cabinet member arrangements and appointment of committee vice chairman. Moving on to item 4, Chairman's business. OPE UK Government Property Award. Can I please ask Councillor Walker Gurley to introduce the award, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. I'm delighted to share some excellent news for Nottinghamshire and the wider East Midlands. The East Midlands One Public Estate programme within Nottinghamshire has been recognised nationally, winning a UK Government Property Award 2025 in the category of delivering smaller, better, greener. This award, presented by the HM Government Property Office, celebrates the very best in public sector innovation, sustainability and partnership working. Our region stood out for its collaborative approach for making smarter use of public assets and for delivering greener, more efficient solutions that genuinely benefit our communities. This recognition reflects the dedication and creativity shown across local authorities, health partners and the wider public sector. It's a real achievement for Nottinghamshire and I'm incredibly proud of the team who have helped.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Walker Gurley. This really is wonderful news for Nottinghamshire and the OPE programme. It's a tremendous achievement and a clear reflection of the hard work, innovation and partnership across public sector organisations in our region. My sincere congratulations to everyone involved. You should be extremely proud. I would now like to invite Ian Bennett, OPE Programme Manager, and Joanne Brazel, Team Manager, Property, Strategy and Information, together with Councillor Walker Gurley, to come up to the dais. Item B, the Defence Employers Recognition Scheme Gold Award. Councillor Justice, can I ask you to introduce the award, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. As the Cabinet Member for Communities and Public Health, I am very pleased and proud that Nottinghamshire County Council is in receipt of the Defence Employers Recognition Scheme Gold Award, which represents 5 years of hard work and the enormous dedication of our officers and councillors in supporting veterans and reservists and their families, and the Cadet Force adult volunteers. I would like to hand over to our Armed Forces champion, Councillor Colonel Retired Kelvin Wright, to say a little bit more about the award. Thank you.
Thank you. The Defence Employer Recognition Scheme Gold Award is the highest honour for any council that provides exceptional and sustained support to the armed forces community. It reflects a strong commitment to reservists, cadet force adult volunteers, veterans and their families. Nottinghamshire has a proud military heritage and the council remains dedicated to strengthening the support that we already offer, leading by example through employing members of the armed forces community, ensuring supportive policies for veterans and reservists, and maintaining active engagement with Defence Relationship Management representatives. We work with council services and key partners to ensure support is far-reaching across the county. The Gold Award is not easily achieved, and we are proud of the fact that we continue to build and grow our support network. We remain focused on securing our next Gold Award in 2030. And on a personal note, and it's not always customary to add these in the chamber, I would like to pay tribute to Neil Bettison, the council officer, all the hard work he does behind the scenes, without whom this award would not have been achieved.
My connection with the armed forces is well known. I think most of you know that my husband is a former submariner, and therefore this presentation has a special place in my heart. I'd now like to welcome and invite Major Retired Mark Simpson to address the meeting.
Madam Chair, councillors, many thank you for the introduction. I'll just introduce myself, Colonel Mark Simpson, retired, like Colonel Kelvin, formerly of the Royal Electrical and Mechanical Engineers, and I'm grateful to be joined today by Colonel Emil Tesson-Cotton, who is currently the Deputy Commander for 104 Theatre Sustainment Brigade to make the presentation. In terms of my job, I'm a Defence Relations Manager, so my job is to promote, to advertise and basically to engender the armed forces community right across the north of the East Midlands. And when we talk about the military community, I think Councillor Wright has already alluded to this. We're talking about regulars, we're talking about the reserves, we're talking about the cadet force adult volunteers and the service leavers or veterans, as some people prefer to be called, and indeed the wider family of spouses, because as we always say, they also serve. It gives me great pleasure today to come along and represent this, given the fact that Nottinghamshire has had this award already for 5 years. And in that 5 years, I think has been the beacon and the absolute epitome of a gold standard and a gold holding organisation, which we hold up and we look to other organisations across East Midlands and within Nottinghamshire to stand up to. But recognising what Nottinghamshire does or Nottinghamshire County Council does, I think if I was to stand here and sort of list everything they do, I'd probably go on a lot longer than my 2 or 3 minutes. But just to sort of epitomise the 3 things that are on my radar screen, you know, the Boots and Berries that Neil Bettison organises every year, which absolutely shares the values and everything that happens within Nottinghamshire, down to the Veterans Coach Trip, which I know is growing, and again, you know, is not easy to organise, even down to the discrete, what we call Cadet Hardship Fund. So this is supporting cadets who are perhaps less well off, to enable them to go and join their colleagues on annual camp. There's a whole plethora of things that are in between that. So I thank Nottinghamshire County Council for its ongoing support and indeed for its support now. But just let me sort of put this in context as to how special this award is. Like I say, I work working with the Armed Forces Covenant, and across the UK, organisations, large and small, public and private, we have about 15,000 organisations that are signed up to the Armed Forces Covenant. Within that spectrum, we have just over 1,000 nationally that have achieved Gold Award. So it already is a special award. Bringing that down to the East Midlands, which is the area that we work in, there are only 81 recipients currently of the Gold Award. And bringing that down to the county of Nottinghamshire, you are one of only 21 organisations in this county that hold the Gold Award. So it really is a huge accolade, A, to be proud of, And we are extremely grateful that you're going to hold it for another 5 years and indeed continue to drive those values forward. So we thank you, wholeheartedly from the military community for doing that. I'd now like to call upon Colonel Emmel to present the award to the Council. Madam Chair, thank you.
I would now like to invite Colonel, Emil Tesson Cotton, got that one right, and Councillor Kelvin Wright, our Armed Forces champion, together with Councillor Justice, up to the dais to present the gold certificate. Item C, the CQC inspection. Councillor Answer, can I ask you to introduce the item, please?
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Good morning, colleagues.
Morning.
I am very happy today to announce and celebrate the rating that our adult social care services have received from the Care Quality Commission following our inspection in December 25. Nottinghamshire County Council has been assessed as good. This means the CQC has judged that the Council is meeting its duties under Part 1 of the Care Act 2014 and delivering a good standard of care and support for people who will draw on adult social care services. This outcome provides essential assurance of the overall quality of adult social care provision in Nottinghamshire. This is an excellent outcome for the Council, and I would like to congratulate all of our colleagues and adult social care colleagues on the recognition of the wonderful work they have been done every day to support people in our county. I know we are all determined to keep up the good work and to keep improving our service wherever we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Answer. This is excellent news, and I would like to add my congratulations to staff in our adult social care teams and services on this rating, our care teams and services on this rating. There is clearly much to be proud of, and this is recognition of the dedication and commitment showed by staff. And I would now like to invite Guy van Dichel, Executive Director, Adult Social Care and Health, together with Councillor Answer, to come up to the dais. So, ladies and gentlemen and fellow councillors, I'm now going to give you an update on council meetings that have been undertaken since the last meeting. I wasn't able to give you an update the last time because it was budget, and that took priority. So I will just go through a few things. These here are some of the awards and, well, the work that I did from Christmas to the present day. There should have been a little bit more to go up there, but there wasn't enough room. So it just goes to show that I have been very, very busy. And I just want to read a few things to you that stand out to me, particularly from some of the events that I've gone to. You must forgive me because I'm a little nervous. I don't like being attacked as soon as I walk into a place. And I'm usually used to far, far more respect. So, I'll begin. A few highlights of Christmas. Step into Christmas event at Sherwood Observatory. That was my first event. And the entertainment was fabulous. And it was an amazing venue to hold an event. The planetarium surpassed all my expectations, and it was a real treat. Sorry, Councillor. Did you have something to say? Oh, good. There were carol services in their multitudes, all crisscrossing the county, finally ending on Christmas Eve at a beautiful event in Southwellminster. There are so many events forming an amazing chapter in my role as chair. I will always treasure every moment and experience. And I owe a huge thank you to my fellow councillors, both here and throughout the county, for their support and hospitality. And a very, very special well done to our civic office, who dealt with all the invitations, etc. Their hard work and expertise is invaluable to this council, and certainly to me. Moving now into 2026, I would like to share with you 2 examples of fairly recent visits and outcomes. I will begin with Holocaust Day on the 27th of January, and that will be followed by my visit to Oakfield School. Holocaust Memorial Day was the 27th of January 2026, and the theme was Bridging Generations, focusing on the vital role of listening to survivors and sharing their stories to connect the past with the future and combat growing distance from these atrocities. Our survivor was a lady called Malka Levine. Malka has written a book called A Mother's Courage to tell of her family's ordeal and survival. Malka was only 3 years old when, along with her siblings, she was taken by her mother into hiding. Somehow, Malka's mother was able to persuade an elderly farmer and his wife to give them sanctuary in what was actually an underground pit. She was to be hidden by this Gentile family, a huge risk for everyone, especially at one stage when the German military commandeered several farm buildings for their own use. It would have been absolutely terrifying. Moving on, in our speeches, Malka and I emphasised the importance of tolerance and respect for others. As a community, it is important that we share a common and mutual respect for people of all faiths and from all backgrounds, and to celebrate the amazing, diverse communities we have in Nottinghamshire. It is up to all of us to take action for a better future. Just bear with me, folks. I'll now move on to Oakfield School. Some of you may know this school, actually, but Oakfield is a community special school for pupils aged between 3 years to 19 years. They specialise in severe and profound learning difficulties and physical impairment. It was my first visit to the school, and I look forward, as always, to the event. As well as parents, a large number of dignitaries were in the audience, and the room was packed. This was a pantomime, and it was called Snow White and the Seven. And I think you'll understand why it was just a 7 when I read on. The pantomime was a winner from start to finish. An amazing performance by the pupils and staff. The atmosphere was absolutely fantastic. So much work had been done in order to make it a great success, and it was. After my visit, I contacted the head teacher and asked if I could contribute to some of my CDF for a project to support the pupils and to say thank you. We decided that a gardening project for the youngest pupils would be feasible. We would love the children to be able to choose what to grow, and also for some of the older students to help and support them. We are confident that with the funding, and I hope there's more to come, we can create something for the children which will engage them in outdoor learning and support their understanding of the world, and also promote friendships. There is also a potential to be a model for other areas of the school, working together on an accessible sensory garden and watching things grow. This would be so beneficial, particularly when it came to touch and smell, and especially with the visually and hearing impaired children, it would be so beneficial for students. I'm personally so looking forward to seeing the progression of this project, and thank you all for listening, because I will be following this through. Thank you. So, moving on, just a reminder that we will be breaking for lunch at approximately 12:30 today. Constituency issues. This item gives members who have previously given notice by the deadline the opportunity to speak up to 3 minutes on any particular matter relevant to their constituencies or any particular issues arising in their electoral division, which is relevant to the services provided by the County Council. This is an opportunity simply to air these issues in the council meeting. It will not give rise to a debate on the issues or a question and answer session. Members are reminded that there is a maximum time limit of 15 minutes for this item, and each member may only speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Any speeches not heard in the time limit will fall and can be submitted again at a future meeting. We have 7 speeches today. I call on Councillor Adams to speak regarding the grassroots football. Councillor Adams to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Yeah, so I'll start in a second. Sorry, just trying to get my notes right. Yeah, so week after week, as well as being a councillor, I'm also a coach of a grassroots football team. And week after week, we we have two teams set up as normal as you would. We have team talks. Parents turn up, all in a line at the side as they do. The game kicks off, and what unfortunately tends to happen is the referees get a lot of the time a lot of grief. Now a lot of these referees are normally around 14 years old. So not only are they obviously young and impressionable, like all young people are, but also they're setting examples as well for the young people that play in the football teams also. And the referees I've found to be very decent, very polite, very kind people, and they do not deserve that they get. Now, obviously, a few weeks ago we talked about a campaign from the county council to stop vaping and smoking at the sideline of football games, and I thought that was a good idea. I don't disagree with it. But I think what we're focusing on there is the actual health and the physical health of the people that go to these football matches, the young people that are involved. And I think maybe what we need to also focus on is the mental health of those young people as well. Football can be an incredibly positive experience for young people. It can help let them understand about team skills. It can teach them about respect. It's also incredibly good for their physical health as well in terms of the issues we have nationally with obesity. And so, this is should be a very positive experience. But sadly, it isn't. And it is ruined often by parents, but also really primarily by coaches who seek to sometimes turn over decisions by over-exaggerating their upset to that. So I suppose what I'm here today to talk about is two things. One is to say this campaign that we're looking at with vapes and smoking, can we look at trying to expand that to include something around the way that we treat young people and the way that things are said to these young people on a pitch. But secondly, and this is wider to the people that are part of district councils who can actually apply for more 4G sites as well for football areas, because again, this winter we must have had,
Councillor, you have 30 seconds.
30 seconds, 10 games cancelled. So, there's a lot of things that doesn't happen over winter as a result. And so I'd like to appeal to those district councillors who are in here as well to go back to your councils and start to look for sites where you can actually add additional surfaces so that we can actually keep grassroots football growing, but also keep it the positive experience that it's there to be. And please, 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 if anybody is listening to this broadcast today in the public and you're going to a grassroots football match, please be respectful of the referees. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I now call upon Councillor Wilmot to speak regarding public open spaces, highways and flooding issues in his...
Thank you, Chairman. We all remember the terrible flooding in Nottinghamshire we had to endure many months ago, especially in my ward on Redwood Court, Greenwood Vale and Greenwood Avenue in Hucknall. In a monsoon-like atmosphere, water came down Greenwood Vale at a height never before seen in the area, destroying many rooms in houses along the way. It was so bad the residents asked for an independent inquiry into the problem, saying what happened to cause such a problem. It was a terrible incident, and many of the residents are still affected by it. In fact, it could have caused fatalities if anyone had been on that street at the time. It also changed the lives of many of the residents, and they are still waiting for answers from the inquiry. Now, several roads near to the new housing estates in Hucknall, including Annesley Road near to Oak House, and Hayden Lane and Marion Way on the Ward estate, are covered with sand and grit being left by lorries after delivering their goods to the housing sites. It's bad enough to have to put up with the noise and fumes from the vehicles and then to see the conditions of the roads outside their doors. My residents are fuming. It pulls down the area to see our roads in such a filthy state. Do the developers care at all? Now we come to our roads and pavements. I can remember when we purchased a £1 million road repairer and we were promised that we were told we would get on top of the pothole problem. Well, first of all, we've never seen it in Hucknall, and that's been told to me this week by Via. And you only have to look at the roads in my area. Little has changed. Many of the repairs done look very unprofessional, and many holes are having to be repaired again and again. I recently took a bus trip from Hucknall in my ward to Kirkby, and it was just like being on a fairground ride at Goose Fair. I had to hold on for dear life, hitting holes in the road every few seconds. I'm sure to be sending my list with road repair problems. It takes a long while to complete, and my report will not be pretty. We were promised an improved gullies training service, but still many are blocked. Now, the open space at the side of Titchfield Street in Hucknall, near the town centre, is a mess and needs clearing. We, the district council, recently did a litter pick in the town centre, all to no avail, as the unsightly open space near to Titchfield Street is pulling down the area. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor. Item 3. I call on Councillor Lawton to speak regarding the closure of Cornton Dean Hall School.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Cornton Dean Hall SEN facility that is in Cornton, which is in my patch, but actually it provides a facility for children and parents from across the Newark constituency. The process of this decision being made to close Cornton Dean Hall School has both traumatised parents and in particularly the children in this school. I met with them last Thursday and quite a harrowing experience. They watched the Cabinet operate on YouTube and were quite frankly appalled but welcome the change of heart. Children at the school suffer from serious medical and emotional trauma. One child would have wiped out the savings that were being made by the closure of the school, finding alternative provision, which is going to cost somewhere in excess of £100,000 a year, plus chaperone, plus transport costs. The thread that as I have found through all of my discussions with the parents and the children is the excellent and professional staff that operate within this school, and as a result they've just received good rating in their Ofsted. This issue was fed right the way through my discussion. They could not praise them enough. Even the catering staff who were providing bespoke meals for the children that had difficulty with eating. And so I thank the parents because with the parents and myself, we've managed to save this facility. And I look forward under the tutelage of the Orchard School of watching this school go from strength to strength. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor. Item 4. I call on Councillor Gamble to speak regarding the local economic impact of the Elements Green Great North Solar Park.
Thank you, Madam Chair, folks, elected members and those viewers online. Right, I am the Chair of the Nottinghamshire Pension Fund, but those of you who don't know, I've got an environmental science background, biodiversity, ecology. So you're thinking, why on earth is this councillor speaking against the Elements Green Great North Solar Park? Well, I appear today to address the cumulative impacts of the Great North Solar Park. I refuse to call it the Great North Solar and Biodiversity Park, particularly the loss of BMV. It's a BMV. What on earth am I talking about? I'm talking about best and most versatile land, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3A soil. It's prime agricultural land. The consequential effects on both local farming and the regional industry with specific focus on the British sugar factory in Newark, because it relies on all the surrounding area. And this Elements Green Great North Solar Park is 7,000 acres, folks. It's a very large area. Now, when I was at the Planning Inspectorate meeting, the BMV land protection, it's a material planning consideration under paragraphs 174 and 175 of the NPPF. I refer to the National Planning Policy Framework. They didn't include, I'm talking about Elements Green here, professional organisation. They didn't include the BMV land at Beacon Fen. That was omitted. They didn't include the One Earth Solar NSIP National Strategic Infrastructure Project. That was omitted. So they were all cumulative impacts. So correcting these omissions means that cumulative BMV land loss increases from 2,350 hectares to 3,222 hectares. Right. So myself and the vice chair over there of the pension fund, Vaz Chowdhury, we had a tour of Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. Oh, I'm sorry, British Sugar Factory in Newark with the environmental manager. And British Sugar is British Sugar is British
Point
Sugar.
of order.
British Sugar is the dominant supplier of sugar in the UK, providing around half of the nation's total sugar market. Its products are used in confectionery, soft drinks, bakery goods.
Chairman, point of order.
For example, Matlow Swizzles in Derbyshire. It's also a prime supplier of UK supply to beverage manufacturers, bakeries and food processors. It's a social economic impacts, loss of BMV for farm income, employment. Now, things that you might not know about also with BMV. Betaine. Betaine is used in the cosmetic industry. Did you know also that British Sugar is the biggest producer of topsoil in the UK? All that soil that comes from sugar beet is also used. So, if the Elements Green Great North Solar Park goes ahead and the One Earth application, it's going to have massive detrimental impacts to British Sugar and the local wider farming community. So I just want to say, folks, I oppose it, and I imagine that most of the councillors in Newark and Sherwood also oppose this application.
Councillor,
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Lee.
Chairman, thank you. As I have family members and lots of residents that work at the sugar beet factory, and it represents Newark and Sherwood, and all our residents, most of our residents work there. I'm wondering if the council will apologise for the derogatory terms as he named the sugar beet factory that employs lots of our residents.
Yeah, I'd like to respond. I refer to it as Willy Wonka's chocolate factory because it's a generator of for the local economy. But when you go there, there's pipes, there's steam everywhere. It was like going back into time with Roald Dahl when you're going through on the tour of the factory there. It was amazing. The technological improvements that they do there.
Now?
Okay, thank you very much.
Enough being said. Thank you. We only have time for one more speaker now, so I call upon Councillor Robertson to speak regarding the murals in the Church of St Peter, Clayworth.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I didn't think I was going to get called, so thank you very much for that. Yes, I'm going to talk about the Traquair murals, which are a stunning example of the works of Phoebe Anna Traquair, a renowned artist of the arts and craft movement, made famous by such artists as William Morris. A well-known Scottish-based artist, synonymous with church murals of this kind, the Traquair murals are the only examples of Phoebe's mural designs outside of Scotland. The works in St Peter's Church in Clayworth cover all four sides of the chancel and are a stunning depiction of numerous biblical scenes, including the Nativity and the Last Supper. As an artist, Phoebe is well known and well revered in Scotland, with their national galleries displaying many of her exhibits and providing a comprehensive biography of her on their website. Phoebe was one of the first female artists to receive professional recognition as part of this movement, so was a real trailblazer. Councillors may ask what relevance my speech has to the council and its services. The council, many years ago, provided funding to St Peter's to complete some internal works to the church, installing more modern facilities that make it an attractive space for the village, but also to cater for visitors. The village receives visitors from across the globe, including Australia, Canada and America, as well as many visitors from Scotland, where Phoebe resided. The investment in this cultural asset has brought many people to a small North Nottinghamshire village, who then go on to give custom to the two local pubs in the village and visit other sites in the area, supporting our local economy. The murals, after many years of exposure to the cold church conditions and the natural effect of salt secretion from the stone walls, are in need of some professional restoration, which the church is working hard to raise funds for. To support this endeavour, I'll be looking at how the council may also be able to support in this, as it is a cultural jewel in the Nottinghamshire Crown that these murals do need to be invested in, otherwise they will be lost. I also wish to work with officers and cabinet colleagues in the community's portfolio to see how we can improve our promotion of tourist assets in areas like the Misterton division, which has an amazing historical examples, such as Scrooby, a key village that is linked to the Pilgrim Fathers and the birth of the United States. As already mentioned, the Traquair murals, the Misterton cars, which played an important role in calculating the circumference of the Earth, and Brindley's Chesterfield Canal. Being able to showcase our cultural and historic assets to attract visitors to the area is a vital part of our local economy, so anything we can do to improve this would be a massive help. With this being English Tourism Week, I am really proud to be able to speak about the amazing division I represent. The Traquair murals, which is a great attraction and both a stunning, beautiful and historically important example of what we have to offer.
I'm Miss Upser.
Thank you.
We have completed the 15 minutes allowed for this item, and all remaining speeches fall and can be resubmitted to the next meeting. Item 6A, Presentation of Petitions. I have been notified of 14 petitions by the deadline. May I remind members there is 1 minute time limit for the presentation of each petition, and there is a maximum time limit of 15 minutes for this item. So I call on Councillor Justice to present 2 petitions, and you have 2 minutes to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm pleased to present this petition of 30 signatures on behalf of my residents in Underwood. The petition requests the extension of double yellow lines on Beach Road at its junction with Alfreton Road in Underwood to reduce congestion around the junction. The petition also requests pavement bollards outside number 109 Alfreton Road to eliminate vehicles mounting and parking on the pavement. Alfreton Road is a busy bus route with bus stops either side of the road near its junction with Beach Road. Alfreton Road is heavily parked on one side of the road, but this does not stop traffic speeding along its length. A recent serious accident on Alfreton Road recorded a vehicle speed of 70 miles an hour in this 30 limit. Vehicles parked on the pavement at this junction and on the pavement outside 109 are causing visibility problems for drivers exiting Beach Road onto Alfreton Road. And my second petition, I'm pleased to be able to present this petition of 29 signatures on behalf of my residents in Selston, who live along Sherwood Way and the roads adjacent to Sherwood Way. In the past, the number 90 bus used to travel along the length of Annesley Lane. It would then turn left into Sherwood Way and return to Portland Road, repeating this route in both directions. Sherwood Way in particular is a road with many bungalows and also some specific bungalows for the over 55s. These residents face a long walk up and down a steep hill to catch the bus on Portland Road. The petition asks for the reinstatement of the loop along Annesley Lane and Sherwood Way. Although Nottinghamshire County Council is no longer the responsible authority for the buses, I am presenting this petition to ask council colleagues to petition MCA to request the bus provider to consider this operational change, which would only add a further 5 minutes onto the whole route. Thank you.
I now call upon Councillor Gowland to present your 2 petitions. You have up to 2 minutes to speak.
I'm presenting a petition from a very small road, a small cul-de-sac of a very large major road. It's got a very few residents' parking spaces, but one has been given to a neighbouring property which has existing off-street parking and who's using it to park a large van that takes up 2 spaces. They'd like something done about it. Thank you.
to present your petition requesting road and junction improvements to the Shrewsbury Road and Retford Road junction. Councillor Dodd to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Shrewsbury Road, Retford Road junction in Worksop is a critical yet perilous intersection for our community. Retford Road serves as a primary artery for traffic in and out of Worksop, making it a heavily traversed route 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Unfortunately, the intersection has become a site of concern due to a significant number of near misses and, tragically, the loss of a young community member's life last year. Community members and commuters alike deserve a safe and secure thoroughfare. We propose a comprehensive evaluation by traffic safety experts to redesign the junction, implementing measures which could significantly reduce the risk of accidents and near misses. We urge the relevant authorities to prioritise the issue by allocating funds and resources for these crucial improvements. The loss of a young life in our community is a tragedy. We must not allow this to happen again. I thank the 440 local residents for signing this petition. May Harvey Raisbeck rest in peace. Forever 17.
I call on Councillor Stephen Pearson to present your petition regarding roads in Barnston.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I'm presenting this petition on behalf of both myself and Councillor Clark because part of the issues relates to Langer that's in his division. I've got a petition signed by 302 residents related to road maintenance. Langer and Barnston, for those who don't know, have some unique issues. As well as being quite spread out, they have both a cement works and a large industrial estate to deal with. Recently, a resident counted no less than 1,150 potholes between those two villages. While some repairs have been made, and the recently circulated highways programme does show that some work's going to be done, there is a need for widespread rectification in the village, and we'd ask the County Council to look into this urgently. Thank you.
I now call on Councillor Butler to present your petition regarding potholes in Knowlton Village.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. If I may, can I just say well done on using that really big screen to show all the engagements you've been up to. What a good idea. And it shows just how busy the chairman is at the County Council. Anyway, I have a petition here regarding dangerous road conditions due to poor road surfaces and potholes in the villages of Kinolton and Hickling. And it says, we are writing to formally complain and demand further action about the unacceptable and hazardous conditions of the roads in Kinolton and Hickling villages, particularly along adjoining Hickling Lane, which is riddled with large, deep potholes, and it is. These defects pose a significant risk to the safety of all road users, including motorists, cyclists and pedestrians, and have been a cause of frequent vehicle damage and near accidents. We respectfully ask that immediate steps are taken to 1, a full inspection of the affected roads in and around Hickling and Kinolton, 2, schedule and carry out urgent repairs to fill the potholes and improve road safety, and 3, inform the public of the planned actions and timelines of the repair work. And I might add, Madam Chairman, a list has come through and 1 or 2 of the roads are on that list, which is fully appreciated. But obviously, as ever, there is far more to do. Thank you.
I now call upon Councillor Green to present your petition requesting a speed reduction and deer signs on Mill Lane, Kirkby and Ashfield.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. This is for my beloved Mill Lane. I do a lot of work trying to make it better. It's always forever on my mind, and I think my wife's fed up with me talking about it, to be fair. There's a lot of reckless driving. It's a major bypass for Kirkby in Ashfield. People use it as a country lane. It's full of S-bends, has single pass bridges, and some people can drive like Colin McRae around there. And so we're just trying to put a bit of a stop to that. And there has been sighting of deers, and sadly someone hit a deer and it passed away. So yeah, there's a lot popping off down Mill Lane, and we just want to make it a lot safer for the drivers and people who do walk their dogs down there. So this petition managed to get 340 people to sign in disgusting weather conditions. So I want to say thank you to local legends Karen, Richard, John and Pat for getting amongst it and making democracy matter for the people's voice. So we just want to reduce speeding to around 30 miles an hour if possible, install some deer signs for warning the drivers so that we can prioritise safety. Thank you, everyone.
And now I call on Councillor Mick Barton to present your petition regarding pothole repairs in Gedling and County.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Last month I was presented with a petition from the Gedling Pothole Complaint Group. I met outside County Hall with a few of the protesters who, after a civilised discussion in my office, felt the programme of works for the capital programme, which has gone live today, is a positive way forward after I explained it to them. Our investment into the roads is unprecedented at this authority, and we will ensure that every resource available to us will be utilised for the fixing our ways in the next coming weeks and months and years. That said, we are still continuing to lobby for other resources from other regions. No amount of Councillor Smith shouted in my ear trying to score cheap political points can move away from the fact that reform are fulfilling our promise to our residents in fixing the roads. I would now like to put this petition forward for the residents of Gedling. I can assure them that the roads around Gedling and Nottinghamshire will improve dramatically under the Reform administration.
I now call on Councillor Andy Brown to present your two petitions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have two petitions, the first signed by 305 people requesting that the speed limit be reduced from 40 to 30 miles per hour on Melton Lane, Sutton Bonington. Melton Lane is a picturesque country road that unfortunately harbours significant risks for its users. The current speed limit of 40 miles per hour is exceedingly dangerous given the road's unique conditions and the diverse mix of traffic it supports, with no footpaths or dedicated pedestrian pathways along the lane. Individuals are left to the mercy of speeding vehicles. Madam Chair, my second petition of 160 signatures from concerned residents of Ruddington requesting that the 40 miles per hour speed limit along Loughborough Road, the A60, is reduced to 30 miles per hour. This will bring it in line with other villages along the A60, Bunny, Bradwell and Houghton, which are all 30 miles per hour. Both petitions list in detail several reasons why the speed limit should be reduced. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Councillor Liz Cluley to present your petition requesting a residents' parking scheme on Haywood Road, Mapley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'm presenting this on behalf of the residents of Haywood Road and Mapley for a residents' parking scheme. This is a narrow street which is very close to the main road through Mapley, where shops and cafes are located. This is also a popular bus route into Nottingham city centre. Personal and business vehicles of non-residents are parking on Haywood Road for long periods of time. This leads to a lack of parking for residents and creates safety issues for residents and people using the local park and community centre. Planning permission has now been obtained for a residential home nearby, which it is feared may create further parking issues. The residents' parking scheme is requested for a short stretch of Haywood Road. Thank you.
I call on Councillor Robertson to present your petition regarding the condition of the A161 through Walkeringham Village.
Well pronounced, Madam Chair, thank you. Walkeringham Village is one of many that suffered from the lack of investment in the highways network over the last decade. The A161 that runs through the village has to deal with a high volume of traffic, much of which is HGV and agricultural traffic. As the state of the highways deteriorated over the years, the previous administration's stick-in plaster approach saw the road turned into a patchwork quilt of poor quality temporary repairs, many of which failed time and time again, causing damage to vehicles and presenting serious road safety risk. The residents have had enough. I'm glad to say that through the hard work of residents, myself and my Cabinet colleague Bert Bingham, we've secured a project on this year's capital plan to get the road restoratively resurfaced, investing in a road that needed this years ago. I present this petition, organised by Karen Mudford and other residents of the village, to call on officers and VIA to bring this project to delivery as close to the start of the new financial year as possible and deliver the much needed resurfacing in April 2026. Thank you.
I'm afraid our 15 minutes are up. We have completed the 15 minutes allowed for this item, and all remaining petitions will be received en bloc. So I ask the Council to resolve that the petitions be referred to the appropriate Cabinet members for consideration, and a report will be brought back to the Council in due course, in accordance with standing orders. All those in favour? So I now move that the contents of the report and the actions approved be noted. It's item 6B, and our responses to petitions presented. Councillor Smith, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'll just speak in reference to page 19, petition J, which I submitted calling for the speed limit on Beacon Hill Road to be reduced to 30 miles an hour. It was 104 people signed that petition. I'm grateful to them for doing so, and I'm grateful to the highways team who have put a lot of work in to carry out the assessment. And what's come back on that is that actually the average speed of the road is well below 40 miles an hour, which the current limit is. And I think that's sometimes perception. When you're walking down a busy road, you can feel the traffic coming towards you and it seems a bit quick. But this survey has shown that it isn't. I just want to say that, but also encourage the Highways Department, which I know they will, working with me and the residents, to continue to monitor it. We can put up interactive signs temporarily and help to reduce the speed. One of my constituents' cat was, and I say this as a cat father, I should declare an interest really, one of my constituents' cat was sadly knocked over and killed the other day on this street. So it is horrific, whatever speed you're going at. And it's sad for that family as well. But if we can continue to monitor it, continue putting interactive signs up, I'm sure we can make it safe as well. We're putting in a crossing actually in the capital programme, so that will help as well. So thanks to the Highways team for all the work they've done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor, much appreciated. Councillor Bingham.
Yeah, I'll just make the point that all petitions are assessed on objective criteria, and basically some people are disappointed. My door remains open. The petitions lie on file, and if anybody wants to discuss anything further, wants clarity or a way forward discussing, then we can arrange a meeting through officers. Thank you.
I appreciate that, Councillor. So finally, This to note report has been received by the Chamber, so thank you. And now we move on to item 7, which is changes to Cabinet member arrangements and appointment of committee vice chairman. So to introduce the report and move the recommendations. Martin.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I formally propose the report and all the recommendations on page 3. Thank you, Chair.
I now call upon Councillor Barton, who will second.
I will second that and reserve the right. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
I will now open the debate. Councillor Carr.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Councillor Wright Martin, at our constitutional working group the other week, you actually did complain about people making too many party political comments in this chamber. Perhaps you will be having a word with your leader and 1 or 2 of your councillors after this meeting, but that's another matter. When you took office last year, you were very proud of the fact that you hadn't appointed any deputy cabinet members and spouting that you'd saved all this money, but now we have 4. So what has changed?
Councillor Clooney, please speak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd just like to, on the back of this report, I'd just like to say I'm disappointed with the lack of female representation on the committees and the cabinet of this council. I know that much of the issue stems from the lack of women who have been elected to this council, just 2 out of 18 Conservatives and 6 out of 41 Reform councillors. Okay, there are 2 women in the cabinet and deputy cabinet, but they're both in the same portfolio. Are women's opinions not valued in any of the other portfolios? Representation on committees is not much better, with several committees only having 2 women and Place Committee only having 1 woman, which is me. It's such a shame that more women aren't involved in local politics, but with the proliferation of men on our council, this is not much encouragement for women to become involved. We have heard comments about women of a certain age when talking about health and women in this county, and in the Place Select Committee, there was mention of how a member's wife would not have food waste in the kitchen, as of course the kitchen is solely a woman's domain. That was sarcastic, by the way. Women's voices just aren't being sufficiently represented in this council. Thank goodness the Labour movement knows how to get women elected to this chamber. Thank you.
Councillor Robertson, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to oh, sorry, I thought it took it to me there. I want to rise to welcome the appointments to these roles. First of all, to Gaynor and John, who've pushed me back a row. I'm not touchy, I just miss my friends. But I have got to know both of them well through the backbench committee that I chair. They're both very, very diligent and hard-working councillors, and they'll excel in these roles. And I personally thank them for the contributions they've made to the backbench committee, and I wish you both well in your roles. Madam Chair, I also give you a very warm welcome. In what I see is you arriving in the role of Vice Chair on the pinnacle of all council committees, the Health Scrutiny Committee. Obviously, yes, all members would say that. You'll make a great addition. You'll bump us up to 3 women, so Councillor Clooney will be happy. So there you go. But you will make a great addition to the committee, and you'll bring fantastic enthusiasm and insight to the work we do scrutinising NHS service delivery. I recently attended the National Rehabilitation Centre visit with yourself, and I saw firsthand just the passion you've got for getting good NHS service delivery to the residents of Nottinghamshire. So I know you're going to bring a huge amount to my committee, and I'm really looking forward to you getting involved. And finally, I'll turn to my good friend, Councillor Simon Wright.
As I celebrate the fantastic arrival of my new Vice Chair, I've also had to accept the loss of Simon from the role. And I think it's safe to say, since we came together on the committee, we've become the warmest of friends. But it's not friendship that leads me to offer the praise that I will about your appointment to the Cabinet position of Education and SEND, as the years of personal experience you have in this area, coupled with the passion you have to champion the needs of others and make things better for all residents, this makes you ideal for the role. After more than 30 years as a parent caring for a son with SEND needs, you've got all the experience of interfacing on the user side of the service. And I know you're bringing that to bear in the role to make sure that the fantastic officers we have ensure that service delivery is designed with the user in mind. I'm also very excited to welcome you and Councillor Walker-Gurley to Everton next month to visit the primary school, look at the outstanding work that the head teacher, Andrew Green, is delivering, and see how we can actually attract some investment to get a much needed school hall and stop children sitting in their classroom eating dinner off their classroom tables and being able to do PE in all months of the year, not just the summer. So I wish you luck, my good friend. You are the ideal man for the job, and I think every council in the chamber would do well to recognise that. Thank you.
Councillor Bingham, please.
Yeah, in that same vein, I'd like to welcome John Seamans as my deputy. Where are you, John? Oh, right behind me. I couldn't see him. Well done. I think he's got over the initial shock at the scale of the portfolio and the challenge that we face. But as a team, we're facing it together. We have a lot of positive views going forward, and I'm sure you're looking forward to the challenge, John. So welcome. Thank you.
Councillor Justice.
Yeah, in the same vein also, I'd like to welcome Councillor Manor, and I know she's right behind me, and she always is. My portfolio is a very wide-ranging portfolio, and to have that additional support to actually get around all the things that it encompasses is very welcome to me, and I know that Councillor Manor will make an excellent job. Thank you.
Councillor Brill, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll make a very short contribution. I just want to respond to the point that Councillor Clooney made about the gender balance in the deputy cabinet member positions. If it's not already clear from the values that I and we as a group, the Reform Group, hold, I think it should be reasonably obvious that in our group we judge people on the content of their character, their ability and experience, not on protected characteristics or any of that stuff. Because if you live in a world where people are promoted based on protected characteristics, on quotas and short lists of women only or whatever, what you end up with is people like David Lammy in government, right? That's what you end up with. You end up with clowns who haven't got the ability and shouldn't be there. And I prefer the way...
Point of order 100.
Thank you. So you can...
So, Councillor Childry, please, to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to thank fellow councillors, and especially I'd like to notice, Councillor Carr is always disrespecting the council, so he has to apologise to the council, because before we start, he start, using his hand. Anyway, as I can say, Martin Wright, our councillor, business manager, is doing outstanding jobs for everybody in our group. So thank you very much, Martin. Keep going. You're doing fantastic. Thank you. Give him a clap.
Councillor Gowland, please.
Okay, I actually was going to stand up to speak about women, but I have to pick up on that last point. There are many politicians I disagree with dramatically, but you did not choose that politician. Well, I'm not going to credit that point with a response. I had better feelings about you. That was appalling behaviour. Anyhow, I was going to speak about women. I'm actually somebody who worked in the physics department. I've spent my entire career trying to have people ignore my gender. I was somebody who was quite squeamish about AWS, all women shortlists in the Labour Party. And yeah, keep your views about, leadership. We can comment on your women leaders if you want to take it that way. But the point is, I'm not strongly in favour of all women shortlists deep in my heart, but we have to acknowledge they worked. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for an all-women shortlist, because originally I stood as a councillor because it was an all-women shortlist. They needed someone to stand. It was a paper candidate. Didn't think I'd get elected, and I got elected. And then I carried on standing as a councillor. So, some degree of, we are 50% of the population. We're clearly not 50% of representation if you don't do something to positively encourage women to come forward. And shame as it is, because probably for socialisation reasons, women tend to not put themselves forward. We do need to do something about this. So, I think there is a problem, and the Labour Party did solve it with the all-women shortlist.
Councillor Cullen, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I'd just like to say that I'm sorry that you felt attacked at the beginning of the meeting and you said it made you feel nervous. But Councillor Gould, you are an experienced politician who served in a council chamber with Councillor Steve Carr for 8 years before you came here. So nobody on our area of the room thinks that you are made nervous by anything that Councillor Carr says. So I'm sorry you feel like that, and I didn't really appreciate the atmosphere that it gave the meeting. Moving on, and it's on the same point, I feel like some of the comments that were made are made because you're particularly inexperienced in this field of politics. And being rude about individuals, you had a more diverse cabinet before this reshuffle, and because you're inexperienced and you didn't handle a few things properly, you now have a less diverse cabinet, and it's to the detriment of the county council. And I suggest that you spend some time thinking whether it's scoring points to be rude, particularly about women. And I'll tell you, some of the best politicians I know are women, and if there were more women in this chamber, these meetings would run more smoothly and more would get done. So I feel that you need to really think carefully. It's not sport. Women definitely hold up most of the world. None of you would have iron shirts today without them.
Yeah. Point of order, please.
Which you have to give the name.
Just a quick one.
Number.
90. It should be 91, I think. Point of order, please. Just point number 100. And I want to ask the council just at the back, sorry, to clarify the comment about iron shirts, because we're just going really off topic here, but I don't want some council to hold a certain standard of morality about your gender and certain prejudices when you make them about men and not iron shirts. I just want to state the house, I iron my shirts in my household. So can we just keep it genuine? Keep the standards consistent, and can we focus on the topic, please?
Fair point. Sometimes, as you know, I've been outed on social media as having the best banter in this council chamber, and I got a little bit carried away. Fair point.
Councillor Kelvin Wright to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Very interesting discussion. Obviously, the whole gender and sex thing is very close to my heart. Does the other side believe a woman can have a penis or not? Just so we know what we're talking about here.
Enough, please. Let's move on. Councillor Lee.
Don't say.
Chairman, I am, because I believe in everybody needs to be treated the same. Chairman, we've had names of clowns, we've had shirts and everything. You need to get a grip of this chamber. Can I ask you to treat everybody the same? And if you're going to hold us to account, that you should hold your own side to account. This is becoming a laughingstock. Please get a grip, Chairman.
Thank you. Let's move on. So,
Councillor John Clark.
Councillor John Clark.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Chairman. Can we bring this to some level? I don't like this personally. I don't like the racism from that side coming across. It seems like Farage has been training you. It needs to stop. I've got a long history of being on this council, and this has degenerated into a bear pit. There's no need for it. We have a service to provide for the people of Notts. The insults to women is absolutely disgraceful. Yeah, my cabinet at Gedling, we're outnumbered. We've got 5 female members and 3 male members. In the employment of Gedling, we've got 48% are female and 52% are male. We're bringing it all together so we can take all those talents on board. But I'm really sickened by this, and to sit here and listen to it is an absolute disgrace to this council. And I call upon the chairman to be a lot firmer with people, and if necessary, call them to order and throw them out.
Point of order, calmly, point of order 100. Disorderly conduct. I feel that Councillor Kelvin Wright's question was disorderly and completely off topic and caused a huge amount of offence to many people, not only in this chamber, but also in this country. Thank you.
Councillor Barton, you reserved your right to speak. Would you like to speak now?
I would, Madam Chairman. Thank you to Michael Robinson for doing your piece. Thank you. So I'm not going to repeat that. When I became leader, we put certain people on the cabinet, and I didn't choose to make deputy cabinet positions at that time because of the experience. I said I would do it further down the line, and I've done just that. I can honestly say that my cabinet members and deputy cabinet members and all the chair and everybody on this side works the socks off. And I mean works the socks off, not on a daily basis. We have a few meetings a week together as an informal cabinet. We have collective meetings together as a group. We're running this council better than it's been running decades. So I'm not having... You can laugh because you're not
Don't argue with me.
Sorry, Madam Chairman. So they can laugh, but it's because they're not in charge anymore, and we are. Sorry, Madam Chairman, let me finish. I've got me right. So I'm very proud of the people on this side, and it's got all to do with work ethics and if they can do the job. That's why I make the appointments, and that's why I'll continue to make those appointments. And we are a team. We are a team, and we're going to make the people proud of us, of this county, of the job we do. And I'm very proud of them, and I'm sure they will be. And forget all the antics that's been said. That's why I'm not even rising to that, Madam Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. And I call on Councillor Mason to speak.
Are we on good morning still, or have we got to good afternoon? Anyway, whichever appropriate. Thank you, Chamber, for listening. I've got to stand up and say something because it's beyond a joke. It's ridiculous. All the ladies in Reform have positions. We have positions we wish to have, not that you wish to see us in. I do not wish to be a cabinet member. If I wished to be a cabinet member, I can guarantee you I'd be one. I don't know who's I'm picking up like, but there's a review every May, and if I wanted it, I would be able to have it. because the team would vote me in.
Certainly would.
The men would vote me in. Now, if you cannot count people, Hannah went off the cabinet, Dana came on. That is a female off and a female on. I don't know where you've got any existence of racism or anything else. I'm always treated with respect. And if I'm not treated with respect, if you was in my overview committee, you would see what happens to people. And that was my own side. So please drop this stupidness. And if we want to change the diversity of a group, it happens at elections.
Absolutely.
It is the public who picked me over the fella. It is the public that picked the fella over the woman. Educate them to give you the diversity. Otherwise, please give this a rest.
Well done.
Councillor Wright, would you like
Standing
to
Order
come up now,
91,
please?
Madam Chairman. Councillor John has not got a position.
Let's move on, please. This is getting ridiculous. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Well, that's a surprise, isn't it? I mean, this is a note. This is a report for noting. I've been to many council meetings when appointments are just waved through because the decision's been made. Yet people have to grandstand. I'll address Councillor Carr for the first question. We said we'd save money. We wouldn't appoint so many deputy cabinet members. Okay, you've caught us out there. We had to, because when we'd assessed the state of the highways left by the Tories, and our strategic plan put more work onto Dawn, onto communities and public health. We saw the light. We saw the light, Councillor Carr, and we appointed 2 more. So all I can say is a lot of talking about gender. What's that got to do with anything in life? I appreciate women more than anybody else. I married one. So but we've got some great ladies in our group. All of them have been wonderful. They've all worked hard. And we are where we are with this. We've appointed new ladies to positions. We've appointed the chairman. When she leaves this role, she'll be an excellent vice chairman of health scrutiny. At the end of the day, there's one thing to say. We appoint the very best people we've got for the roles we've got. Yeah.
So I am surprised at what some people have said. I'm surprised that Councillor Clark, much respected councillor, he's respected by me, and I've known him vaguely for some years, and I've always respected what he said, but I didn't really like what he said, really. But that's where we are, Chairman. So again, thank you everyone for joining in the debate, but I really do think it was really unnecessary. Thank you.
I will now put the motion to the vote. So all those in favour? Any against? Any abstentions?
So motion's carried.
Yeah.
The motion's carried.
Item 8, Nottinghamshire County Council's Pay Policy Statement 2025 to 26. I call upon Councillor Barton to introduce the report and move the recommendations.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The Council is legally required by the Localism Act to produce a pay policy statement for each financial year for the consideration of full Council. We are then required to publish this on our website by the 1st of April. The pay policy statement's purpose is to provide accountability and transparency in relation to payments made to senior employees in the public sector to allow for public scrutiny. The pay policy statement shows that the ratio between the highest and the lowest paid, which has fallen for the last 3 years. There are specific criteria and information that need to be provided to ensure consistent information is shown all across the authorities. We are meeting all of these requirements. I therefore move the recommendation on page 38 of the pack to approve the publication of the pay policy statement. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
I now call upon Councillor Stuart Matthews, who will second the motion.
I'll second the motion, and I'm going to careful who's behind me because I think one wants my job. So the reform and not the reform way. Sorry, I've got to get one in before we start. Anyway, and we're smiling again. Reserve the right. Sorry. Okay. I was off on a runner then.
Councillor Gall.
Legs.
Thank you. I just want to welcome the decrease in the ratio of highest to lowest earners and the reduction in the median pay as in the same way. The reduction in inequality, if you're wondering what I'm talking about. So there's a reduction in inequality in the pay of the council. I think this is probably largely due to an increase in national minimum wage. I am a bit concerned that people on grades 2 to 5, and I appreciate grade 2 is going, are all being paid the same. I feel this is not good for, I doubt this is good for staff morale, but otherwise, thank you for the
Councillor Matthews, do you want to come back on that? You reserved your right.
No, nothing further to say. Everything's in the motion, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor.
I just want to move the recommendation, Chairman.
So I will now open the debate.
Next page, sorry, we've done that.
Sorry. I will now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Yeah. That's unanimous. Thank you. Item 9. Executive report, key issues and activities. As set out in the Constitution, the leader has provided an executive report. The leader will move the receipt of the report for noting and may make a short statement introducing it. No other members may speak on this item and no amendment can be tabled. So I call upon Councillor Barton to move that the report be noted and speak on the report for up to 10 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I will try and keep this brief because I know everybody's read it and entitled it. And I know you're going to laugh at that. It has been a busy time since I will last be able to do this in November. But the Local Government Association fire committees, since November I've attended 10 meetings as chairman of the Local Government Association Fire Committee and the Strategic Policy Oversight Committee and the Fire and Rescue Authority Committee. I've also sat on the Magistrates Inspector of Constabulary and Fire Rescue Committee, again, several times. I've also chaired the Transport and Digital Connectivity Committee quite a few times since November. We had a meeting at Rolls-Royce, Derby, where we put the Mayor's budget through and the medium-term financial strategy, which got voted through unanimously. And then I did a VIA presentation along with Councillor Bingham. We went down to the VIA station And we spoke to 400 staff in the morning and 400 staff in the afternoon, and I've been told it went down very well. So that was enjoyable. I've also been to the Christmas Carol service. I attended the Lord Lieutenant's annual Carol service together with the Vice Chairman. We had a great evening, met some lovely people. I've also been on the politics show, and then we had the JCB visit with fellow members of this group. And as you all know, out of that visit, we're looking at bringing 2 JCB pothole pros in to be used in the betterment for the highway situation that will become, they'll hopefully be coming by the end of April. Cabinet visits. As you all know, I took the decision to start taking our cabinet out into the community. Our first one was to the Dog and Parrot public house in Eastwood. And we had a lovely morning there, and we had a great meeting. And it was lovely to meet the landlady and people that worked there, and we promoted them. They were lovely. We had a lovely day. Our second visit was to West Notts College, and we spent most of the day there. Again, I think Cabinet got a lot out of that visit. We was well received, and on the back of that visit, obviously we sat with the CEO. We're looking to put some work collaborative with them, with VIA, and put some apprenticeship schemes forward, because it's not being done at the minute. So these are what we get out of these cabinet meetings, getting out to the community. So we do get a lot from it, and they will continue. We've got quite a lot booked in right up until, I think, autumn time. So that's working really well. The cricket presentation, it was an honour to present my leader's special commendation to the Nottinghamshire County Cricket Club. This was to celebrate their victory in winning the County Championships 2025. We offered special congratulations to their coach, Peter Moores. It was their first coach to win the county championship at 3 different counties, and it was a very enjoyable afternoon, and I think we'd all agree on that, those that attended. I've done several interviews with radio stations, one in particular, BBC Radio Nottingham, which I know I've got questions on today. I also arranged a meeting with Nottinghamshire MPs a few weeks ago. It went very well. Myself and Councillor Bingham and officers were there. It was a very good meeting. We even had a photo outside, which I never thought would happen in a million years with cross-party MPs, but we're all on the same page. We want to see our highways in a better state in the forthcoming months and years, and they're going to help me do that. There was 2 MPs in particular from the opposition group who invited myself and Councillor Bingham down to Parliament to meet the Finance Minister, which hopefully they'll take us up on, and then we'll go and fight for more funding for this county. So that went very well. What else is it? I said I'll flick through it quickly because I want to get everything in before dinner if we can. So I'm sure you've read everything else, and that's my report, Chairman. Thank you.
So I just call now on Councillor Wright to second the motion.
I'll second the motion, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. This to-note report has been received by the Chamber. So, moving on now to 10A, questions to Leader of the Council on the Executive Report. As set out in the Constitution, a maximum of 15 minutes is allowed for questions to the Leader of the Council on the Executive Report, after which any remaining questions will receive a written response. There will be a maximum of 1 supplementary question, which must be from the member who asked the original question. The supplementary question should be on the same matter and should be in the form of a question, not a statement. I have received notifications of 2 questions. Question 1. I call on Councillor Clooney to ask your question regarding decision taken under special urgency procedure. Councillor Clooney to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So regarding the emergency spending on highways, which I don't have a problem with, obviously, at Overview Committee, we were told that underspend on the capital budget was due to slippage. So slippage into the next year. So please can you tell us now what won't be funded, because some of that slippage has been used this year. Thank you.
I call on Councillor Barton to reply.
Thank you, Councillor Clooney. Firstly, can I clarify there is no slippage within the capital programme? The majority of the £2 million has been funded from the Gedling Access Road underspend. Nothing has been deferred or stopped to fund this money for emergency decision on highways. The £2 million is covering a lot of emergency works on junctions and road that we have pulled forward into the capital programme that we've identified at the beginning of March. The work will start earlier in the financial year rather than wait until the 1st of April, when we knew the budget with the new planned works was due to begin. Thank you.
Councillor Clooney, do you have a supplementary question?
No, no further question. Thank you.
I call on Councillor Bestwick to ask your question regarding BBC Radio Nottingham interview. Councillor Bestwick to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Leader, in the Leader's report, he outlines his recent interview with BBC Radio Nottingham. He explained that the council's budget delivered and I quote, drop in council tax. Given that residents' bills have actually increased, does the Leader accept that this description is misleading? And will he now correct the record and acknowledge that council tax has increased from what residents paid last year?
Councillor Barton to speak.
Well, that of its own don't make sense anyway, because if you're talking about this financial year, you set it at 4.87 from memory. But anyway, to quote Councillor Bestwick, it will be more important to remind everyone that the original medium-term financial strategy assumed for council tax increases when the previous administration set its budgets back in February 2025. They set their council tax at 4.99 for the 2026-2027, with the same increase for the following 2 years. And this also identified a large financial gap of £18.5 million, which we now know is far short of their reality. It is also important to remind all councillors that this Labour government also set out the expectation that this authority would raise council tax by 4.99. Last month, this council agreed the budget for the next year to set the council tax at 3.99. This is one of the lowest increases this council has seen over the last decade. 3.99% is less than the Conservative group and the Labour government's expectations of 4.99. This is the drop I referred to in my interview. Thank you.
Councillor Bestwick, do you have a supplementary question?
Yes, Madam Chair, I do. Is it now time for him to show some leadership and either apologise to the residents of Nottinghamshire for increasing council tax by 3.99%, which is a 33% increase above inflation, or would he apologise for some of his councillors who promised to cut or freeze council tax on their leaflets, or, it's a multiple choice question, or will he again deflect the question, Keir Starmer style, and in so doing show the people of Nottinghamshire that under his leadership, reform will continue to say one thing and do another?
Yeah.
I call on Councillor Barton to reply.
Well, I think there were 3 or 4 questions in there, but I'm just going to, I'll tell you what, after 14 years of Conservative rule of this country, this is why we're in this mess. And you either talk about, this is how good you are, you talk about white lines, what else is it? Oh yeah, banners. And you've got nothing else to talk about. So don't you dare sit there and say that I've got it wrong. I'm not going to apologise to anybody. We're doing a fantastic job. We're doing a fantastic job. Can I just say, without interruption, please, mate? Obviously, we've got a laughing hyena over there, and it's honestly, it's too much. Please have the respect to let me finish and answer your question.
Pay some respect.
We set a 3.99% council tax. Now, you need to accept that because it's one of the lowest in the last 10 years. Lower than you ever did. So I don't know how you can sit there and call me. And the residents out there know we've done that. So I don't know what point you're trying to make. Well, anyway, it's not even worth answering. So I'll leave it there, Madam Chairman. Ridiculous.
Can we?
Yeah, I just wanted to raise one point of order there, point 54. There's only one supplementary question per question is allowed from the councillor who asked the original question. I think there were at least 3 there. So for future questions, as a point of order, I think that's worth mentioning. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I appreciate that. Questions to the leader, cabinet members and committee chairmen. We have 53 minutes left on the clock. So as set out in the Constitution, we have 53 minutes remaining for questions to the leader, cabinet members and committee chairmen, after which any remaining questions will receive a written response. Again, there will be a maximum of one supplementary question, which must be from the member who asked the original question. The supplementary question should be on the same matter and should be in the form of a question, not a statement. I have received notification of 15 questions. Question 1. I call on Councillor Andy Brown to ask your questions regarding funding for building works at St Peter's C of E Junior School. Councillor Brown to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Following the discovery of a serious structural issue at St Peter's Church of England Junior School in Ruddington late last year, which led to the closure of the main school building and the relocation of pupils while temporary facilities are provided, Nottinghamshire County Council confirmed it had approached the Department for Education for funding to demolish and rebuild the school. Can the Cabinet member provide an update on the Council's request to the Department of Education, including whether any funding has been confirmed and the expected timeline for a decision? Thank you, Madam Chair.
I call on Councillor Walker Gurley to reply.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Councillor Brown. Since the permanent closure of the main building in December, our absolute priority has been the safety and educational continuity of the pupils at St Peter's, and I'm proud of the response from the school and our teams at the council. The Department for Education has been in close liaison with our teams. They have verbally confirmed additional emergency funding to cover our response costs, and we await the formal written confirmation to reinforce our basic need allocation. Furthermore, we have already submitted a robust nomination to the school rebuilding programme for a complete demolition and rebuild, and we are in regular contact with the DFE regarding a decision timeline. In the interim, the St Peter's Learning Village is on track to open this Easter. This represents the fastest delivery of a modular facility of this scale in the UK, which is a miraculous turnaround. And thanks to our property and education teams for all their hard work, I'll be pushing for a formal decision report next week, which will detail the full technical roadmap.
Councillor Brown, do you have a supplementary question?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I do. Given that the temporary village provision costs millions in rental, how long does the council realistically expect pupils and staff to remain in these facilities? And what is the current estimate of the total cost to the taxpayer by the time a permanent solution is delivered? Thank you.
Sorry, I got a bit distracted there. So it was two questions.
Yes, there were two questions.
What was the first one? Sorry, was it?
Yes, please.
Just summarise, if you don't mind. Sorry. So it's going
I'll read what is the current estimate of the total cost to the taxpayer by the time the permanent solution is delivered, given that the rental is millions to do so?
Temporarily funded by the emergency part, but it will be covered completely by the DFE, so it's not going to cost the taxpayer anything.
Thank you, Councillor. Question 2. I call on Councillor Butler to ask your question regarding inspections of school buildings. Councillor Butler to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Well, following on from that, it's a question to the Cabinet Member for Economic Development and Asset Management. Following the structural issues at St Peter's Junior School in Ruddington, a school, incidentally, Madam Chairman, that I had the pleasure of being a pupil at many decades ago. So thank you, and they did a fine job, yes. So could the Cabinet Member confirm how many Nottinghamshire County Council buildings, including schools, are of the Derwent timber frame structure, and how many of those have been inspected since the St Peter's School issue to confirm that they are safe. Thank you.
To Walker Gurley to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Councillor. We have 17 Derwent buildings across 14 sites, 4 libraries and the rest are schools. Every single site we manage directly has been inspected and no issues have been found. 10 of these are academy run, which means we'll support them, but technically they are the responsible bodies for their own health and safety. And also we have art partnership partners working alongside us to ensure that the standards are as high as they can be.
Yes, thank you, and thank you for your reply. I'm pleased that the inspection has been carried out, but there is still something of an uncertain future for us all here. So could you clarify perhaps whether the council holds adequate insurance to cover the costs arising from any potential structural failures of this type, and if it will be further financial burden on the taxpayer? Thank you.
I call on Councillor Walker Gurley.
I can't comment on the insurance at the moment. I can get back to you on that. What I can say is, like I said, we're very closely monitoring this, and the safety is paramount for all of our students in these buildings, and we'll stay closely monitoring it. Thank you.
Moving on to question 3. I call on Councillor Fascio to ask your question regarding secondary school places in Broxtowe. Councillor Fascio to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. So some parents and children in Chilwell and Beeston were devastated because there are simply not enough places at their catchment area secondary school, Oldham and White in my division, for all of the children who want one. Some have been allocated places in other schools in Broxtowe, but some have been allocated a place at a school in Gedling Borough on the other side of Nottingham. Can the Cabinet Member explain what planning is done to ensure that there are enough local school places for children during bumper birth rate years, and why some children in South Broxtowe have not been able to secure a place at a local school?
I call on Councillor Simon Wright to reply.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Councillor, for the question. Thank you for the question. I appreciate this can be a very worrying situation for parents of young people planning to start secondary school in September. And I'm very sorry that people do get an undue upset caused by this. Over the past 3 years, Nottinghamshire schools have been planning for higher than average numbers for secondary pupils, with many agreeing to take students above their usual intake. On National Offer Day 26, 17 children in Broxtowe were offered different schools, including 10 who had named only one of their preferences. Oldham and White was oversubscribed, although it did offer 10 extra places. Even so, 10 catchment children were refused places, added to the waiting list and given the right to appeal. For the 3 of these children, the nearest school was available places was Carlton Lit Willows. Since National Offer Day, fortunately, we have now been offered an additional 30 places at Chilwell School, 15 additional places at George Spencer Academy, and therefore this is important that parents continue to follow the administration process and lodge appeals for places at any school that they receive a refusal from. Parents can also make late applications for other schools and make changes to their preference of order. The appeals process allows appeal panels to take account of the individual needs of each pupil. Offer to pupils from school waiting lists will start the process from 16th of March. Information about appeals is provided to parents with the outcome of their secondary school application. If parents are unsure, they are advised to contact the school directly.
Councillor Fascio, do you have a supplementary question?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for that information about additional places. My supplementary is that on Offer Day, I was also contacted by some parents who've had problems accepting places for secondary school because either emails didn't arrive to them with their offers, informing them of their offer, or they were unable to log on to the school portal. can the member commit to looking into the efficacy of aspects of the admissions IT system to ensure that in future all parents receive their offer emails or can accept their child's place with ease on the portal?
Yeah, thank you again for that question. Sorry, I'm new. Thank you for that question. I take on board what you're saying. I'm happy to work with you with those challenges. Please come and talk to me. I offer that to everybody, actually. You know, we've got to put children before politics. So, you know, I'm friendly face. Give me a call, ring me. I'll have a cup. What do you mean that? listen to my fan club over there. But yeah, let's work on this. Any problems, we can speak to the schools. I'm happy to work with you on that. Okay, thank you.
Finally, everyone, I think it's time to have a break now for lunch. Is that okay? Till 1:30.